Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking encyclopedia. Radial pulse, the integrated cardiac muscles. My dharma, the impeccable wisdom, the wisdom of the entire divine nature. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature, with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is a reward of 60 years of integrated knowledge. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening. Akhand Vidya wisdom is empowering. The cardiac muscles of the heart. Right in the middle, you can see the picture that is cardiac muscles. The left side is skeletal muscles and right side is smooth muscles. Let me start with skeletal muscles. They are voluntary muscles responsible for movement, location to mobilize things for all the requirements of 100 trillion cells from the market or the external world, which are brought to house, kitchen, cooked, and then taken to the table. And with the skeletal muscles, those things are put into the mouth. And right in the mouth, the first stage, it is skeletal muscles only. And skeletal muscles are totally voluntary, they are not involuntary. They work in a unison, and the power is equivalent to, say, 1. Smooth muscles are the one which take over after ingesting the food, and from throat, esophagus to complete gastrointestinal system to the ingestion, digestion, absorption and assimilation in liver with the help of liver and pancreas, and then excretion. These are things which are taken care by smooth muscles only, and smooth muscles are involuntary. They are controlled by autonomic nervous system. Skeletal muscles are controlled by motor system. This is for involuntary motor system or autonomic nervous system by and large. And I have also told you the fifth level of local thing centers on smooth muscles also. And that's why you have GIT tract. But they do not have anything to do with skeletal muscles. Now coming to the cardiac muscles, after all the thing which is ingested, digested, absorbed, assimilated in the liver is brought to the heart to be conveyed to the 100 trillion cells for physical, emotional, mental, religious, spiritual and integrated spiritual science experiences. From that angle, then cardiac muscles take over in the heart. And heart is made of cardiac muscles. Smooth muscles, the power could be 1.61, and hardcore cardiac muscles, involuntary in action, controlled by autonomic nervous system is one part. But then in heart, this involuntary also has a 4 pacemakers: SN node, AV node, atrium, and ventricles. They take over, and that is what I have explained. Structure of cardiac is more interconnected. New disc, then you have white matter, you have blue matter, you have soft matter, you have nucleus, you have the arteries, capillaries, veins, nerves. Everything is beautifully structured in cardiac muscles. They work in unison, they work consistently, and they work from the time of young age when they start beating, which is equal to size of just an almond. Till you die, they continue. And reason is they do not use glucose. They use fatty acids to convert fatty acid into ATP so that we can learn things in a much better way and move on. So this is the structure of cardiac muscles, structure of skeletal muscles, structure of smooth muscles. And vital part of cardiac muscle, you have the nucleus, you have the red artery, you have the blue vein, you have intercalated disc, you have soft lines, you have hard lines, and you have cardiac cells. They work in unison as cohesion, as a symbiotic relationship. They work and merge with each other. They don't work independently, like skeletal muscles. Skeletal each fiber is independently supplied by a nerve, but here everything is interconnected. They work in unison, they have to do things in a very systematic way, and that is something which I'm trying to explain. Given the structure of cardiac muscles with respect to the heart, as well as skeletal muscles and smooth muscles of GIT, let's go to. In this particular picture, you can see the cardiac muscles in right atrium and left atrium. Right atrium from outside it comes to inside, and left atrium from outside it comes to inside. That movement is very circular. As a result of this particular structure, atrium work more like a reservoir like earth, and the ratio of systolic to diastolic is 1:7. If there is cardiac cycle of 0.8 seconds, atrium systole will be 0.1 second and diastole will be this, and they have to work as a unison to collect the blood from entire body and then push in only 0.1 second, not more than that. I think that also something which I've already explained. Whereas in case of ventricle muscles, the structure is very different because it has to work in unison as one thing and then push the blood into aorta and circulate through the body. So this particular structure in this form is self-explanatory. How beautiful is the design of cardiac muscles within the heart. And this is the kind of knowledge which I would like everyone. I'm not talking about medical student. I'm talking about every individual in the world should focus on my videos and learn, because this kind of knowledge is not available anywhere and you cannot find this kind of knowledge anywhere. Also is my guarantee, and it is also with Divyank, the divine design of nature, and you cannot find fault with it either. So the best perfect design is being explained. And as for the structure of heart is concerned, it's 3:5, and all that I've already explained in my earlier videos. From that angle, cardiac muscles, actions, structure, movement is getting even more added value as we move on to higher and higher levels of understanding of the heart as the core of self-survival. Let's now go. As I explained to you, that fatty acids are the one which are used by cardiac muscles to produce ATP, and they produce 2.25 times more ATP than glucose and protein. For example, 1 gram of glucose produces 4 kilocalories, and protein also 4 kilocalories, whereas 1 gram of fatty acids produces 9 kilocalories, which is 2.2 times more than the glucose and proteins. How do they do it is something which I have explained on the right side, that you have fatty acid formulas, you have polysaturated, monosaturated and unsaturated. But polysaturated and unsaturated, there is a difference. You can see in the carbon lauric acid, carbon C12, hydrogen H24. Ratio of CH2 is maintained, but oxygen has been brought from O16, O12 to O2 alone. Mystric acid again C14, H28, 2, again reduced. It is reduction of oxygen which is responsible for converting carbohydrate formula of CH2O into a formula where oxygen is brought down. But polysaturated and unsaturated, it is maintained. But unsaturated, the formula of the carbon and hydrogen is also changed. It is not only oxygen which is reduced, even hydrogen is reduced. You can see in lauric acid and oleic acid, you have C18, this should have been H36, but is 32. O is 2. Oleic acid C18, instead of 36, there are 34, O2. That means oxygen has been taken out from fatty acid for the production of fatty acids from carbohydrate formula, so that our oxygen can be added at a beta oxidation And that's why you have 10 stages beta oxidation of fatty acids. I'm not going into details of this, it's just to show how beautiful is the nature design that you reduce oxygen, then you put oxygen to produce more carbon dioxide, and then let the cycle go on. In all set together, carbohydrate, proteins, fatty acids plus oxygen to carbon dioxide and water. And as a result, the cycle of oxygen, carbon dioxide and water is maintained for the world so that there is equilibrium throughout the world. So this is a unique particular presentation to see. In fatty acid, it is oxygen which is taken out, and that is oxygen through beta oxidation is added to make the product get more ATP. And since it uses fatty acids, not glucose or fructose or amino acids, the production of, you can say, harmful acids like lauric acid, uh, pyruvic acid and lactic acid is not the result in fatty acid. It is only acetylcholine, the cycle can go on. Since there are no lactic acid, no pyruvic acid, the question of pain and other thing does not arise in heart, and heart can go on beating 72 per minute, maintaining blood pressure, everything for rest of life without any problem at all, just because of chemistry form. That is the reason why I have been saying very clearly, if you understand perfect human anatomy, perfect human physiology, you'll be able to understand perfect human biochemistry, and also as a result, psychologically you'll be as perfect as you want to be. And that is the message of Akhand Vidyashram, to put impeccable wisdom. If you are perfect in anatomy, perfect in physiology, perfect in biochemistry, and perfect in psychology, you can lead a perfectly long, happy, disease-free physical health, emotional stability, mental health, be one in the universe, and be like a living God for the benefit of the entire humanity. And that's, as a result, you can produce the kind of results which I'm looking for the entire world, uniformity throughout the world. There should not be different books written by different people confusing different people. We should have uniform knowledge, impeccable wisdom, and as a result, you can find the answers very clearly. You can always have the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry as an impeccable wisdom. I mean, of course, when it comes to diseases, other things, you can always bring in. Even to all the tests, you can always divide into two components, perfect and imperfect. And once that is done, I'm sure you'll have no problem of any confusion for any student, any part of the world. So the objective is to lay behind impeccable wisdom, which everyone has uniform throughout the world. And that is objective for these particular videos, to make sure it is not pyruvic acid or lactic acid, and there is no accumulation, and you can live comfortably, involuntarily, for long years to come and produce the kind of results which nobody can find fault. Having said that, now let's move on to the next slide. As I told you, I was talked about the human radial pulse examination by an ideal physician. And I'm talking about physician mean everyone, every living human being is capable of becoming a physician, provided a person is able to understand perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology for their benefit, for their own self. Unless until every person becomes their own physician, learns what to eat, what not to eat, how to go and this. And that's why what to eat, what not to eat, what to do. I, from my own experience as a physician, and then trying to bring it down to common man, which even common man can easily understand. I'm not making it complicated. I'm not making it difficult. And I trying to make every person an ideal physician, provided the person is able to do. And from my own experience, I have a lot of my students who are much better than professors in colleges as far as anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry, a perfect being is concerned. If I can do that, I'm sure I can do for the entire world. Now coming to the human radial artery, ancient Indian sages of India, who are known as physicians of the ancient India, could diagnose the problem of every patient from childhood to the old age by looking at pulse alone. And for looking at pulse, this is something with three-finger formula has been put. Proximal, middle, and distal. There are three closely held fingers kept on the radial artery is important to start with. Then feel the experience of what is the amount of volume. As far as the cardiac pulse is concerned, it is uniform, it will not break, it can be full, you can feel the roundness, you can feel the thrust, you can feel the different phases. You can also find this particular thing. And it is normally said as you grow older, there is a deterioration in radial pulse. As a result, you can say the person's heart is not working well, or different organs are not working well. And I'm sure if someone is able to maintain the cardiac output 5 liters, pulse of 72, blood pressure of 120 by 74, mean arterial blood pressure of 93, and is fully hydrated, rehydrated for rest of life, that person can be as active as 21 even when his person is 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, even 100 plus. And it's a super conscious effort on the part of an individual which matters how the person can become perfectly healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, intelligently, intuitively, and otherwise. Core and core, my message is Vedas say and talk of only atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, and cells of different nature which make up 33 crore elements, and we can explain all the 33 crore elements within the body. If you are able to experience that within the body and learn that, with the help of that knowledge, we can rectify automatically with diet itself. And in the diet, I made it very clear. Your proximal diet should be vegetarian. And to counter kapha dosha part of the sattvic diet, you can take certain rajasic or tamasic elements to reduce the component and make yourself Nirgun Nirankar Brahman. I think that also I have explained it very clearly. And this particular picture will give you an idea, is your pulse perfect or not perfect? Now, having given you an idea and having given the background of the heart and other things, now let me give you a slide which could surprise a common man, but of course doesn't surprise me because I've been teaching that. I've been doing that for the last 60 years. Radial pulse of a perfect human being is designed with Divyank ratio. I'm making the statement very clear. This is Divyank, Divyank, and Divyank. Everything is Divyank. Now you can see when the stimulus, when the pulse, radial pulse you feel in the initial stages, you can see a pulse going up. There is a height H1. That's the first, when left ventricle starts contracting and aortic valve opens up. The first is big thrust, which goes with the first cardiac, the maximum ejaculation phase. There are three phases in cardiac: ventricular, systole. First is just preparatory, then the full stage, and then the second stage. So you can see the first stage, the height is very high, width is smaller. But then pulse comes down. Then for the second phase, it goes up again. So you can see T1, T2, and T3, three elements, right up to down we are written T4. They pertain to the ventricular systole, which is 0.3 seconds. I have written that down. Ventricular systole is 0.3 seconds, which is red in color. After these two phases, main wave and tidal wave, you come to one particular stage, which is H4. And from there, you start getting ventricular diastole, which is 0.5 seconds. 0.3 and zero point 0.5 is what is Divyank, 38.1966 and 61 point. And during this phase, you see a dicrotic wave once again. You must be wondering, ventricles have stopped contracting, aortic valve is closed, blood has gone back, but what makes the blood go forward again? This is something which I want everybody to understand. The first part of aorta is also more or less like cardiac cycle or smooth cycles which can contract by itself to push the pulse again. After pushing that, then it slowly starts coming down to phase is slow. But come to the stage, then you have no flow. And that is 0.5 seconds, this particular thing. So you can see H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and slowly coming down. So I'm sure you are able to understand that your radial pulse represents your health of integrated heart. If your heart is perfectly fine, its size is according to Divyank, biochemistry is according to Divyank, physiology is according to Divyank, and this particular shape of radial pulse you can maintain for rest of your life, provided you keep yourself hydrated fully, you have 5 liters of blood, hemoglobin is 16 grams, RBC is 5 millions, and all the biophysical parameters are as perfect as when you were 21, even at the age of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I can assure you it can be done, and it can be done with the perfect exercises which are recommended in Akhand Sutra as well as Akhand Yoga is concerned. If you're going to be physically as active when you are in young, even in 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, I do not understand why should you fall sick. When your food is fine, exercise are fine, lifestyle is fine, you are positive all the time, you are not into anything which is against nature, and you are flowing with nature 24/7, then I do not find any reason why should your heart fail, why different organs of the body should fail, why should you fall sick, why can't you live like ancient Indian sages who lived for thousands of years doing wonderful work in the form of Vedas and Upanishads. If they could do it, I don't find any reason why we cannot do it. And I'm just trying to show at every stage you see the same thing. And that is what the objective of Akhand Vidyashram is, to create impeccable vision. If Shivbhushan Sharma is able to do it, I don't find any reason why others cannot do it. And I'm trying to be a living example. And that's, but one thing which I would like definitely for everyone to understand is, you can't do without money, but you should not go after money. If you can use that time effectively for intellectual work, money will come to you automatically more than you require, and be satisfied and be in tune with nature the way you have been designed. And I don't find why every individual cannot be a living God on the earth. And that is the message of Vedas, and that's the message of Upanishads. And this mathematical design of Divyank is designed from Vedas and Upanishad stories. And of course, as far as the last part of Shiv Ank is concerned, that was not done in Vedas Upanishad. I have done, it has taken me almost 20-30 years to figure it out. But having found, I have got the answer to the world, the divine design for the first time. And that speaks volumes. And I'm going to leave it at this stage for the world to see how we can use that knowledge one by one to make ourselves healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. Coming to this picture, I don't think we need to talk. We already have come. Anyway, thank you very much. We'll continue to talk of these things once again, one by one.